what makes an INFJ afraid? What are some INFJ fears? We can break it down into two categories. At least these are, in my opinion, the two main categories. The first of which is people pleasing, and the second of which is just getting stuck. So let's start with people pleasing. The first one that jumps to mind is just the fear of being rejected. I don't know about you, but personally, I'm really slow to open up to people, and especially people that I'm wary of, that I feel like I can't trust as much. This isn't trying to be rude, but it's just a self-protective mechanism. So I tend to just reveal as much information about myself as I need to until I feel like I can trust them. There are some people that I've worked with for years and years and years that don't know everything about me. I mean, obviously, you really have to get to know a person to know everything, but I'm talking about they still don't know a lot about me. They know my work stuff, but they don't know me as well. And that might be true of you, where you don't reveal as much about yourself just to be safe. But there are situations too where you get to meet somebody and you really do trust them and feel safe around them, and maybe you open up more. But in general, INFJs are afraid and guard themselves so that they're not rejected, because they don't want someone to reject them for being really who they are. Inadequacy is another one that plays into this. We can work really hard in school or at work to do a good job because we want other people to accept us. And this can be a good thing. We want to do our work well, and we want to honor whoever we're learning from or we're working for. But it can also be a bad thing, because with both of these problems, and the other one that I'll mention in just a minute, we're putting our hope in what other people think, or we're finding our identity, I should say, in what other people think. So that could be a really negative thing. At least that's been a negative thing for me whenever I've done it. So just a word of warning, if your identity is ever based on what people think of you, it can fall apart and be broken and be somewhat shattering. So I'd encourage you to find it somewhere else. Okay. The third one is phone calls. I don't know about you, but can't really stand phone calls. And this is a typical introvert dislike or fear, but for me, it's just something that I don't enjoy, and I don't like them a lot. I've really enjoyed the Apple Watch just because it tells me who's calling. Someone I read in a discussion the other day that the advent of caller ID was like the greatest thing ever, because you could actually see who was calling, and I'd have to agree with that. But anytime I have to call the bank, or recently I had a knee injury and I had to get surgery on my knee, so I'm kind of out for a little bit, but I had to call a healthcare provider to pick up a wheelchair just so I can get back to work. And I didn't want to make that call either. Just any time on the phone talking to people I don't know is not enjoyable. I'd much rather send an email or a text message if I have to than call on the phone. Now, there are people that I will talk to on the phone, like people with whom I'm really close and enjoy conversation with. But if somebody just calls me up randomly, it's taken me a long time to get to the point that I'll just pick it up. And I do it now just to get it done, because I know I'm going to have to talk at some point. But in general, the point is that a lot of INFJs don't enjoy talking on the phone. All right, and the fourth one that I'll mention that has to do with people pleasing is conflict. And INFJs do not enjoy conflict. We can get better at it, and we should get better at it, because it's part of being a good friend, being a good coworker. Because when you really care about the other person, you bring the truth before them, and actually it's going to free you, you'll find, because you can share what you really value, what you think is true, and the other person really needs to hear to help that person grow. It's going to take something out of you, but it's really caring about the other person well. But that doesn't mean that we enjoy it. I've been a classroom teacher for 12, 13 years now, and I've never enjoyed the conflict part of classes. That always comes with it, because there are at least several kids that don't want to be there, and they make it their job to make it difficult for you. And I don't like having to, not get in their face, but having to go and talk to them and work it out and, tell them about the consequences. I'll do that because I want to maintain the classroom environment, but I've never enjoyed it. It's really draining, and most INFJs avoid it like the plague. Okay, now let's talk about a couple things that have to do with getting stuck. With the INFJ, they usually enjoy growing and reaching their potential and moving toward what they feel like is the best that they can do. And when they get mired in a place where they can't continue to grow, or they have to do the same thing every day and they can't try new things or learn new things, that's a big fear. That's something that they don't look forward to, they don't enjoy, or they're worried about. I know if I had to do the same thing every single day and I never had opportunities to try something new or to master a new skill or to learn something new or to research something, that'd be really draining for me. So now let's pull back and look at why INFJs have these people-pleasing fears and why they fear getting stuck. The INFJ personality type is made up of 4 preferences: introversion, intuition, feeling, and judging. But there are also 4 cognitive functions that underlie the personality type, and they are introverted intuition, extroverted feeling, introverted thinking, and extroverted sensing. And they're arranged in a hierarchy. So if you look at them, there's one that's the most influential at the top, and that's introverted intuition. There's a second one that's extroverted in direction, and it's extroverted feeling. And then there's a tertiary one, introverted thinking, and an inferior one, extroverted sensing. And these 4 aspects of your personality, these 4 mindsets as I like to call them, each influence you and cause you to do what you do, but they do it in different power orders. Introverted intuition is most influential, and extroverted sensing is least influential. So there's, again, a hierarchy. And we'll start with the people pleasing. We are extroverted feelers. That is our second cognitive function. So if you look at your second one, your extroverted side, the extroverted feeling, that cognitive function is really concerned with making sure everybody's happy. In fact, it finds other people's satisfaction satisfying. It may forego what it really wants just to make sure that other people are happy. So this can be the reason that we want everybody to get along. We seek harmony, and we want to please other people. It's also a reason that we don't really enjoy conflict. We don't want to fight. Again, we're seeking the harmony and the good of the group. The first cognitive function in your function stack is introverted intuition. And this one is concerned with transformation, with learning, with researching, trying new things, and growing. And all those are opposed to getting stuck. And I might add that this is the most influential in your personality. So it's really important that you feed it and that you pour into it. And that's why so many people who are INFJs fear just getting stuck in that one thing. It's easy to understand why that's a big frustration. I mean, who wants to have the biggest, best part of them put in a tank or in a back room in the dark and never brought out? You want to be authentic and true to yourself, and getting to use that introverted intuition is so important. So if you are cornered into never getting to use it, you're stuck in the same routine and you don't have an opportunity to let it grow and to be who you are, you're going to encounter difficulties and challenges, and that's to be expected. If you'd like to learn more about your INFJ personality, I'd love to give you a free copy of my book, The INFJ Personality Guide. In the book, you'll learn about the mindsets that cause you to do what you do as an INFJ, and hopefully you'll come away with the understanding that you're not broken or messed up, but you do have some special contributions that you can offer the world and some unique things that make you who you are. And you can get a free copy of that book by going to infjbook.com, and you can find that link in the description below this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next show.